I'll hand it over to Javon to take over for presenting. And again, Javon, I'll give you a 5-minute warning for your presentation, then we'll move on to the next person.
Alrighty, thanks, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. So I will be speaking on the internship and some of the stuff that I've learned. I'm going to give a little background about myself, where I come from. So my name is Jovan Hohola. I go by Jojo. It's easier for everybody to remember. I am from the Pueblo of Isleta, which is 15 minutes south of Albuquerque. I am one of the education interns for the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society, and I am also a BIA Pathways intern. Let's see, how do you go back? Sorry. So this is our seal, the Pueblo of Isleta, and down here is one of our historical sites. It's our church, and we still celebrate Mass in there. Right now, I am attending the Southwestern Indian Polytechnic Institute, which is also known as SIPI in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I am studying natural resources management, and I will soon hopefully be going to New Mexico State University to study fish and wildlife studies for my bachelor's degree. Some of the stuff I like to do is garden. I like to be outside. I like to spend time with my family, and here are a couple pictures that I have recently got from my garden. And here's a hummingbird taking nectar from one of our traditional plants. And on the right-hand side, here is our corn. And I was lucky enough to get a picture of the morning dew before it dried up. So one of the projects that I did with the internship and with another coworker of mine, we did a tribal fish and wildlife survey. And the survey was to contact tribes that are, I guess, members within the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society. There were, I believe, altogether 227 tribes that we were trying to contact. We were trying to contact them to send out the survey to help them better understand, and the Fish and Wildlife Society to better understand the natural resources and the fish and wildlife programs, and any way they can be we could be an assistance to help them build their wildlife program, or even start a wildlife program. And down here is one of the bull outs we saw at the YMCA. It was neat. It was just standing there, and I was lucky enough to get one of those pictures. Within the internship, we did professional development sessions. We had some sessions on resume writing and strengthening our resume as we start our career paths. So we sent our resume to Ashley, and she went over do's and don'ts and how to build a strong resume. So that way we can have that as a master copy, so that way we can send out to our future departments that we're going to work at. So hopefully, you know, it was really good experience with that. We as interns also submitted our weekly reports, which was very important. It helped us with paying attention to detail and how to properly name our files, to help with the organization of our files and to help Ashley keep a track of our files too. We were also enrolled in a zoonosis disease awareness course, and it helped us to understand what zoonosis diseases are and how they impact animals and humans, and how they can be transmitted between the two and between our vegetables, and how to prevent them within the future. And the youth practicum. The youth practicum was a week-long camp that was hosted at the YMCA of the Rockies within the Rocky Mountain National Park. We had 9 high school students from within the tribes of the United States. They were an excellent group of students. They blew our minds. It was really neat to see them engaged in everything and asking questions, and the way they were able to speak and re, ask their questions in a well-rounded way. It was really, really neat. Throughout the week, we had presenters from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and USDA, Department of APHIS, as well as our staff. And here are a couple pictures with Robert with his Clio project and his path and how he got to where he was, and with Heidi and how she got to where she was and her functions within the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society, as well as her presenting on tribal ecological knowledge was pretty neat. Um, the interns, my coworkers and I, we presented on our college experiences, and that was to help the high school students when they get ready for their college education, when they start, for them to not have some of the same challenges we did as when we started, and for them to have some information to be aware of when they start, so they're not completely I guess blindsided of how the college experience is. And it was really neat to give them some information, so that way they're not completely lost when they start. We also held scenarios. That was Friday morning, the last morning of the program, and it was neat to like I said, to see them engaged in everything in their management plans. They came up with really good management plans, and then it was just a great experience to watch them open up and to see them interact with all of the staff and all of the presenters. And within the week, we went on a couple of trips. We went to CSU to tour it, and we saw the nursery. Here are some pictures of some of the saplings that they start. And we also visited Trees, Water, and People. So they're in a partnership. So they start the trees for Trees, Water, and People when they take them down to different tribes. I actually got to work with Trees, Water, and People a few years ago, and it was neat to get to talk to uh, one of the staff members again. And this was on our way back to YMCA of the Rockies. So here's a picture of our group. Another project that I'm working on is the Tribal Liaison Directory. This project is to help the tribes better navigate the DOI system, as well as put tribes in contact with the correct department or individual, so they hopefully don't get the runaround, and they can actually contact the person that they need to contact, so that way they can get their information faster. We worked with some of the programs within the DOI, such as USDA and Fish and Wildlife, to compile the liaison contact information within the different regions in the United States. Some valuable skills that I have learned. Networking has been an important skill. I used it a lot, pretty much every day from within that camp too. I didn't realize it, but there was some days where I had some contact with certain areas that the presenters were working with, or just as going back to the Trees, Water, and People. It was a shock that I was able to meet with some of those people again, and it was really nice to get to know people and to learn what they do and all that good stuff. Staying organized is a really good skill that we learned over this internship, and taking good notes in meetings. That way we know when our deadlines are, and to know when we have our meetings, that way we're on time. Speaking clearly is important when contacting tribes. I found that out when we were doing the tribal fish survey. I had to contact a few tribes, and it was kind of intimidating because I've never talked to them. I called tribes that I never even heard of, and um, speaking clearly and knowing what you're talking about is really important, so that way the tribes know what you're asking and what information you need. Um, to help them out. And also, having confidence in my work is a valuable skill too, knowing that I'm doing the right thing and that this is going towards a greater good. It's bigger than what I can see with just what I'm doing, because it's not just within my tribe, it's within all the tribes within the United States. So it's interesting and it's nice. It's really good.
Hey, Jojo,
So,
you have 5 minutes. Sorry, you have 5
okay,
minutes.
thank you. Thanks. Some goals for the future. I would like to see more youth involvement with the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society, such as the youth practicum. Uh, Both the interns and high school students. It was a good experience, not only for us as the high schoolers, but for us as the interns. We learned a lot. We learned valuable skills that we hope, hopefully it'll take us further, and build us as an individual. And I hope to keep an open mind and to learn and teach the generations to come as much as possible. Thank you. This is one of the cow dogs that we saw driving around in Allen Park. Thank you, guys.
Good job, Jojo. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was so we did evaluations this past week, and I told Jojo that meeting in a virtual capacity and having an internship in a virtual capacity, I thought she was going to be super quiet and to herself, but then at the national SIP she completely changed what I guess that thought, and she was super talkative and really super helpful. She stayed up with me till like to like 1 when the last students came in from their flight, and when Robert had come in from their flight. So she stayed up with me and made sure we both didn't fall asleep, so we could be able to direct him up here, or not up here, up into the cabins where we were staying, or in the lodges where we were staying. So I'm excited to see where she will go, and continue to encourage her, and pray that she accomplishes the goals that she has set for herself.